Hello, I'm Anthony Miller, and welcome to this BritChips Newsflash. Now, last week, Glasgow-based semiconductor startup weeteq marked a huge milestone, announcing the first tape-out of its proprietary power microcontroller chip, Ultra Edge. And I'm delighted to welcome back weeteq's Chief Operating Officer, Martin McDonald, to tell us more. Now, Martin, it's only been a few months since you were a guest on the BritChips podcast, but obviously much has happened since then. So can you briefly remind our audience who weeteq is and explain the significance of last week's announcement?
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. Appreciate the invite. But yeah, so as you say, we're a startup based in Glasgow, and we do power and control system optimization. So we kind of target things like motor drives and power inverters and industrial automation, microgrids, grids, and data centers, and everything in between. So yeah, we've been going around 3 or 4 years, and everything's looking good. But yes, the announcement last week was to let the world know that not only have we taped out, but we've actually received the package back from IMEC via TSMC of our first prototype chip. So this is a motor control chip, Ultra Edge motor control chip version 1.0, which is now on the bench going through the testing that's required before we can get it physically into customers' hands. So we're hoping that testing should be complete this side of the new year, but we're ready to give it to customers in the new year.
And this is the first time you've actually received or got proprietary silicon.
Yeah, it is. And, in the past, we've been using a FPGA based sort of demo platform, which is the ARM MPS3, which has been fantastic, but it has its limitations in terms of how, fast you can run certain processes. So whilst we've been achieving some really good results with the FPGA platform, it runs effectively 10 times slower than the silicon can run. So whilst we've been getting great results, we've been waiting with sort of bated breath to get the silicon just to see how fast we can see these kind of non-linear responses being optimized in the silicon. So yeah, this is the first weeteq silicon that we've had back, and the first time it's been running Ultra Edge. We've done various different trials with other third-party microcontroller manufacturers, but yeah, this is the first time the chip says Ultra Edge on it, and so it's quite an exciting week it's been.
Yeah, with your own brand as well. So how long do you think the testing phase will take to sort of validate that you can run, well, 10 times faster, I guess, than the
Yeah,
FPGAs?
there'll be some initial validation that's going on this week, and that will just give us the first kind of sense that things are looking good, and we should have a good sense of it by then. And then really, it'll take probably about another 3 or 4 weeks into the new year before we can say absolutely this is exactly as we intended. And the good news for us is that if you saw any images of the previous sort of prototype FPGA, it was kind of a number of boxes, and we had a really smart looking kind of prototype box that we had made for us, and we were all very, very proud of it, but it wasn't the most practical for getting into customers' hands. So what this does is it takes these two boards that we had, this big interface board and a lot of kind of wiring, connecting the two things together, and shrinks it down to silicon. So we've literally got all of that into a chip. What we've then done is we've developed an evaluation board, which is kind of the size of two sort of credit cards, that kind of size. And that was produced by European Circuits up here in Glasgow at Clydebank. And these guys just dropped those back to us tomorrow. They dropped those back to us yesterday. So we've got the evaluation boards that are good to go as well. So effectively, once we've done the testing, that evaluation board can get into the hands of customers, and they can really get to feel the power of Ultra Edge.
And when do you think you'll the customers? How long do you think the customers will take to do an evaluation before they say, "Yes, Martin, you've done it"?
You've cracked it. Well, it kind of depends on the application, but in general, our sort of pilot customers take somewhere in the region of say 6 to 12 weeks, something like that, really, to kind of get good validation. And depending on the application, it could be significantly quicker than that. We're getting quite good at tailoring the models and tweaking the models to fit different applications and different hardware manufacturers. So the idea would be that actually we move to an environment where customers can be quite self-sufficient with this as well. So we can produce models that are universal, that can be applied to multiple different applications, that a customer can just kind of follow the process and do that themselves. That's some way off. For the short term, we're really working with customers to develop a bit more of a holistic sort of pilot project where it's got our engineering and our models and support to build those models to really expedite the process for the customer to validate the technology in their environment.
And you
And
do have
that's the important
customers.
thing.
Yeah, sorry. And you do have customers who are ready and waiting for the evaluation boards to be able to do that.
Yeah, we do, and Q1's shaping up to be really busy. We've got a mix really of those kind of OEM type customers who are building boxes, be they power inverters or motor drives, etc. But we've got a significant number as well of sort of tier one, tier two semiconductor companies that are really looking to um, really take Ultra Edge and embed into their next generation of products. And this is an important part because we built the silicon, and our ambition is in the future that could be a chip that we manufacture at scale. In the short term, really, what we're keen to do is work with existing microcontroller manufacturers and OEMs to really deploy Ultra Edge in their environments. But we wanted to build the silicon in the first place because we wanted to understand the full kind of complexity of what we're doing and really understand the environment so that we can then really determine quite quickly and efficiently how we can port this to other platforms. So we wanted that full flexibility to be able to, work with many microcontroller companies and many OEMs who are building products. And through that kind of learning piece, we felt that building our own silicon was the best way to do that. Supported by in-kind partners that are absolutely worthy of a mention. So people like ARM and Synopsys and MathWorks, and that's all through the help from Silicon Catalyst and IMEC, of course. So yeah, without those guys, it would be tricky as a startup to do that. But to get to where we are, having our own silicon, is only really possible with the support of many.
Indeed, indeed, a fantastic achievement. What would you see finally as the next significant milestone then in weeteq's journey with Ultra Edge?
Yeah, so I mean, this particular silicon is based on the motor control application, and we're adapting that now for the power converter application. And we are seeing a huge amount of interest in that power conversion space because we are not only looking at power optimization from the supply side, so from the grid, microgrid type customers, but we're also, when you look at the data center and the sort of power requirements there, there's a whole huge ecosystem of partners that are looking to solve different problems in that space. We talk about this whole grid to chip optimization that we do. So right from the supply of electricity into the data center and how we can manage that supply by creating grid forming power inverters, which actually provide a boost to the grid when we see instability or volatility in the grid. We can create these
Fluctuations, yeah.
solutions. Exactly, yeah. And so right from that supply side, right through to the distribution within the data center of this 800-volt DC, really, high voltage electricity to get as close to the GPU as possible. So we minimize this power loss. And the whole world is really focused on trying to get this 800-volt DC to the rack, to the hyperscale data center rack. And with Ultra Edge, we have this kind of ability to think a little bit differently in terms of we know that we can control many of these sort of non-linear anomalies and system responses that appear in this kind of whole power matrix, so that we can think about things differently and apply different logic to the standard way of thinking because we have Ultra Edge in our back pocket. So what it allows us to do is take that 800-volt DC not just to the rack, but to the GPU tray itself. And this is a massive, advancement of where the industry is right now. And really, this was, I think, a patent which we filed only 5 or 6 weeks ago. So it was after our talk, our recent talk, and now starting to really look at who we can partner with to make this come alive. Yeah, that's a big focus for us moving forwards.
Well, that sounds like a really exciting opportunity for a little way down the line. Well, look, congratulations again, Martin, on getting the first chip, getting into your hot, sweaty hands and hopefully into the customer's hands very soon. And look forward to hearing a lot more about weeteq's journey, hopefully next year. Martin
Yeah,
McDonald, Chief Operating Officer of weeteq, thank you very much again for joining this BritChips Newsflash.
thanks for your time.